Yo, what is up, guys? It's Pedro here. We got another Washington Commanders weekly stream, and this time we got a lot to discuss. Obviously, we'll talk about some more recent, discoverings about Eric Bieniemy, and just discuss him and what I think about him. And Juan will also come on a little bit later to talk about that. Haven't heard his thoughts on the Eric Bieniemy news yet. Also, we'll discuss the ongoing ownership situation with Dan Snyder and Jeff Bezos. Still don't know what's going on there, and even Josh Harris as well, and some of the other candidates when that could get resolved. We'll also talk about some of the other offensive coaching candidates that the Washington Commanders could pursue, and then we'll also talk some draft and free agency targets as well. So should be a good one, and again, Juan should be coming on pretty soon. So appreciate everyone for coming through. If you guys are new, make sure to subscribe for Washington and NFL content. Hit that like button and turn on those notifications. It really does help out the channel a ton. What's up, Kevin? So let's go ahead and get started. So the big news is, today. So the thing with the ownership situation is we've gotten so many conflicting reports about the ownership situation. One day, one day it'll be Jeff Bezos is the front runner to buy the team, and then the next day it'll be Dan Snyder's not selling to him, and the next day something else. Well, let's see. What's up, Brendan? Yeah, I'm pretty good. How about you? I appreciate you coming through. So it's really hard to believe anything with the ownership situation, but there was a new development today, and I want to talk about that a little bit. So I'm gonna wait for some more people to get in here, and also some more people to comment in the chat. So if you guys are in here but didn't comment yet, go ahead and comment in the chat. Just let me know you are here, and we'll get into that, ownership news, and then get into coaching stuff and stuff like that. This next I guess the next 3 to 4 days will probably be a little bit slow. Or well, actually, no, we'll still learn about the offensive coordinator, or the new offensive staff, because we're gonna, hire at least 2 new guys, and then after that, things will be slow for a little bit, and then we'll start to get into, the ownership situation and free agency. March 7th is the last day to place the franchise tag on a player. So that's probably what's going to happen with Deron Payne, and things will start to get a little spicy there. That's good to hear, Brendan. What's up, Diego, my guy? Appreciate you coming through. So let's go ahead and get started with the Dan Snyder news. So this is from Ben Standig. I won't put the tweet up yet. I'll just read it. He says Dan Snyder has barred Jeff Bezos from bidding on the Commanders. A person briefed on the sale process confirmed to The Athletic. Meanwhile, activity with the sale process has ramped up as Bezos ponders a bid, per sources. So I don't know. So I guess even though Dan Snyder is selling, Dan Snyder is selling or does not want to let Bezos bid. Bezos is still like, F it, like I'm you know, I'm one of the richest men in the world. I'll buy the team. He's not going to be able to resist my offer. Maybe that's what he's thinking. I don't know, and maybe he's just calling his bluff. Like maybe he's like, okay, well, if I offer you $7.5 billion and the next highest offer is 6.5, hey, you're gonna take that extra $1 billion. What's up, David? David, I'm pretty good. Appreciate you coming through. Will, I agree. Must sell the team. I mean, if it ends up being, Dan can't get the price he wants, and we don't, and he doesn't sell the team, I'm gonna be very, very upset. But I'm really hoping that we're able to just move on from this in the next 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Let's get done with it within 2 weeks, and I will be very, very happy. And then we can just focus on free agency, and because if Dan Snyder's not gone and he's still the owner, he's not going to be willing to give up as much money. So if we want to re-sign Deron Payne or sign a big time free agent, well, not going to be able to do it. Not going to be able to do it. And we might, yeah. So I think also in terms of, re-sign Deron Payne, I think it came out this week that they're going to franchise tag him. That's, to be expected. And my take on it is franchise tag him and then work on a deal. If you can't get a deal done by, I would say, draft night, or maybe second day of the draft, I would consider trading him. I really would get the best offer. Munish says Dan Snyder has no choice but to sell too much litigation. Yeah, I mean, he's getting pressured by the league. There was a report that came out that says that the league is pressing and pressuring Jeff Bezos to buy the team. Christian says, "How's school? Pretty solid. A little bit boring, but not too bad right now. Not too much work. Getting all my work done though, so it's good. Appreciate you asking that." But yeah, there's a lot of conflicting reports with this ownership situation, which is frustrating. But this is a big national story. I mean, a lot of people hate Dan Snyder. A lot of people are disgusted by, what he has done in terms of workplace, culture and, some of the other allegations. Like us Commanders fans, we're disgusted by what he's done to this franchise and that other stuff, the workplace, environment and stuff like that. The national media, they don't really care about what he did to the franchise because, they like other teams, but, they know all the different things he's done, and especially in the last 5 years, what we've heard that's come out. So there's going to be pressure, and there's a lot of different media outlets covering this situation. So it's really hard to know what to believe. Like, I generally do believe Ben Standig, and I think he does have his sources, and he's not going to make things up. But there's so many different, sources in this, situation, and there's so many conflicting reports by other also, you know, good sources that I don't know if I'm fully believing it. And also, even if I do believe it, well, Anti could still change his mind later on. So that's just something to consider there. And this is what Albert Breer had to say. Um, he says, "I think the pressure is sufficient where Snyder will sell, but if there's an out and not getting his price could be that out, then nothing's guaranteed. Also, Washington isn't the only team Bezos has been linked to. Some believe he'd be fine waiting for Seattle." And there's been conflicting information on the price as well. I mean, some people are saying, "Oh, he will not sell the team if he doesn't get over 6." Some people are saying over $7 billion. So it's so many different sources: New York Post, New York Times, you know, Albert Breer, Ben Stanek, so many. What's up, JP6? Appreciate you coming through. Yeah, I mean, if the Washington Post gets sold, that is a clear indication that Bezos is, gonna put in a huge bid to buy the team, and he probably thinks he will get the team. So if Bezos sells the Washington Post, then I would put it at like a 75, 85% chance that he ends up being the owner of the team. And hey, that's what I want. I know some people don't like Bezos, but and I don't want to repeat this too much, so I'll say it quick because every time I keep repeating it, he is super, super rich. So no, not gonna be cheap. He's gonna, get us the best facilities, the best stadium, the best resources, probably gonna be creative. I mean, he's been very good in terms of, running businesses, Amazon, obviously, Whole Foods, the Washington Post, and obviously he's more hands-on with Amazon, but the other companies, like, he hires those people, the top there, and lets them run the businesses. So, he knows how to let other people that are better than him at that specific job do their job, and I think he would be able to do that. He's done that in the past, and obviously he has ties to DC. I think he has the biggest house in DC. He also, obviously, one of Amazon's warehouses or headquarters, I think, is in Arlington. I don't think the headquarters, but I know they have something there in Arlington, which is very close to DC as well. So, I think Bezos makes sense, but I understand if you don't want him. But here's the thing: you got to realize all these billionaires, they've got their baggage. They've got some issue. Wouldn't mind Josh Harris, but one thing to consider with Josh Harris is he is the Philadelphia 76ers owner, and they're trying to build a new stadium. So I don't know how that would work with the whole situation. Like, he's already paying a lot of money for that stadium, and then paying a lot of money for the team, for the Commanders. And then would he be able to fund and put enough attention onto the team to fund the state or to create the new stadium? I don't know. If he's bidding, he clearly thinks he will be able to do that. So that is just another layer of this whole situation. Then you got the whole other layer of, okay, if Dan leaves and is pushed out and he sells a team, what does the new owner do with the current regime? I mean, very likely we'll let them play it out year one, but after that, what does he do? That's just a lot of things to watch out for. DeAndre Taylor, appreciate the $2 donation. Says, "Yo, I know it's a strong word, but I truly hate Dan." Yeah, I hate Dan Snyder. Despicable man. Not only, I mean, obviously, mainly because of the stuff he's done to people. I mean, just belittling people and harassing people and allowing a terrible, toxic culture to, you know, yeah, just develop under his, in his business. Like that's just messed up, and all the personal allegations against him stealing money, also, from season ticket holders, stuff like that, and just everything he's done to ruin this franchise. Yeah, not a lot of people I hate, but Dan Snyder is one of them for sure. Just I mean, strong dislike. I can't disagree with that, Brendan. But if yeah, hate is I think I hate Dan. But yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, appreciate that donation. Yeah, I'm hoping we can just have an end to this soon. There's just again so many conflicting reports that it's just annoying. I just want it to get done. I think I want it to get done. Steph, I appreciate that donation, DeAndre, and congrats on your engagement. Saw that on Twitter. That's huge. As Stefan says, you think Duran plus Gibson plus 2 first rounds plus, let's see, a second and third would be a good trade for Lamar? I think it gets it done. If they are trying to trade Lamar, I think that gets it done. I mean, 2 first round picks, a second, let's just say 2 firsts, a second, and then Gibson, who's probably worth a fifth, plus Duran, who's probably worth a second and a third. That's more than enough for Lamar. I don't personally know if I would do that. I love Lamar, but the Ravens have won one playoff game in 4 years. Yeah, for 5 years, I believe. 5 years with Lamar Jackson. One playoff game in 5 years. And let me finish, but I know they have terrible offensive weapons, but that's with them paying him on average probably around 5 to 7, maybe 5 to 10 million a year. If you get him, you're gonna have to trade for him, which is gonna cost multiple first-round picks, probably another mid-round pick or early pick, and then a good player like Duran Payne. And then after that, you're gonna have to pay him probably 50 mil a year. I mean, if Daniel Jones wants 45, I mean, he's not getting that. He shouldn't get over 35. But if that's what Daniel Jones wants, I mean, Lamar is gonna get 50, at least 45. Lamar's getting 45. And if the Ravens were only be able to win one playoff game in 4 years, paying him 5 mil a year on average, besides this past year, how are we gonna win a playoff game paying him 40 more per year? That's just something that I've been thinking about a lot. And what you guys think about that? But would I be totally opposed to trading for Lamar Jackson? No, because he's an elite talent. He's one of the better quarterbacks in the league, and he's a dynamic player, and I would be excited. Another thing that does kind of make me a little bit worried about the situation is that his injuries the last 2 years, he's dealt with a lot of injuries and has missed a lot of time. So, yeah, that's another layer to the situation. But yeah, I don't think Lamar. I don't think he'll get traded. I think the Ravens are gonna try to get something done. Only thing is, Lamar is his own agent, so it could make things complicated where he's not gonna he's just gonna not sign something unless he thinks he's getting the proper value, and maybe he thinks that's way too high. He doesn't have an agent telling him, that's too high or whatever. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. But appreciate the questions. Go ahead and put those in the chat. Hunter says Lamar or Howell. Well, if you're just asking who's better, Lamar by a long shot. But given the situation, who would I rather have, given the context of what you have to give up and everything? Honestly, I know this is like really, really weird to say, but honestly, maybe I'm on the fence. I would be fine either way. I would be fine just running it. This season will be with Hal as QB1, seeing how he does. If he's great, okay, that's your franchise QB. If not, it is what it is. Move on, get someone else. So let's see, we got 83 people in here. Juan should be getting on here anytime soon. He's coming back home, so that should be good. We'll get his thoughts on the Dan Snyder situation. If you guys are new, we got 80 people in here. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe. It takes 1 second, guys. 1 second, hit that button. It's free, and you will not regret it. You will not regret it. Go ahead and do that. And yeah, just click that button right there. So on the road to 11,000 subscribers. And yes, the more time passes, the more pressure Dan's gonna get from owners and owners and stuff, because the Mary Jo White investigation will come out soon and stuff like that. So I still think he'll be gone again, though, especially today with not so great news. I need to see it to believe it. I really need to see it to believe it. So we'll get back to the dance stuff when Juan comes on, but I just want to give you guys an update on some offensive coordinator news. So, or not offensive coordinators, some guys that Eric Bieniemy is potentially bringing in. So, Tavita Pritchard, Stanford offensive coordinator and QB coach, kind of the last since 2009 he's been on the staff. Let's see. Yeah, since 2009 he's been on the staff. They are very interested in him, and it looks like they're going to come to terms on a deal. Not official yet, but it made a video on him yesterday and went more in depth into it. But he likely will come on as the QB coach. What's up, Gus Bus? Appreciate you coming through. He will likely come in as the QB's coach, and maybe another role, maybe pass game coordinator. Who knows? And I like his background. Doesn't have any relation to Ron, which is good. Ben, he was a quarterback at Stanford, and then in 2009 he was on their staff until this past season. So he's got a lot of experience, and it's college, so you're gonna bring in some more experience. He developed some good players, and I know Davis Mills isn't great in the league, but he developed him into a second-round pick, I believe, second or third-round pick, I believe, early third-round pick. So he was able to get him drafted, worked with other guys as well as offensive coordinator, Bryce Love, Walker Little, JJ Arcega-Whiteside, Kobe Parkinson, and some other guys as well. So he did a good job in Stanford, and I would not mind him as a QB's coach here. And then Greg Lewis, I believe that is his name, from the Chiefs. The Commanders and other teams are interested in him. And if we signed him or hired him, it would likely be as a receiver coach. Would like that. Anyone from the Chiefs, I'm happy with. And, it would be good for Eric Bieniemy to bring in like one or two guys that is, that he's familiar with, and that those guys are familiar with him. So it's not as much of an adjustment, and they can help, install that offense quicker, because it's going to be a different offense, and there's going to be a little bit of adjustment period. But if you have more guys in there that already know the system, then it'll work out. And one thing I like is, Eric Bieniemy is more of a West Coast offense, or that's like what the Chiefs run. And, I think, and I've heard from, different football guys, and I think Sam Howell's former offensive coordinator at UNC said he thinks Sam Howell thrives more in a West Coast offense. Well, good news for Commanders, because looks like they're going to run a West Coast offense with Eric Bieniemy. So that is good news for sure. Declan says, do you see EB keeping Logan Thomas? Probably not. He's getting up there in age, a decent amount of money for not great production. His blocking hasn't been good, been injury prone. I think at the very minimum, restructures in order, but I think he's going to get cut, and EB will bring in someone that he wants, whether it's a draft pick or a veteran. So, yeah, I mean, Lewis was a receiver. Yeah, former NFL receiver, which I like as well. Always like those former players. And Eric Bieniemy, of course, former player for the Chargers, Bengals, and maybe the Eagles. I'm not completely sure, but I know that I think the Bengals and Chargers he played for. Logan was not. I think Logan was at the presser, DeAndre. I'm pretty sure he was. Maybe I'm wrong. I thought I saw something that he was there. Miguel says, so is Bezos buying or not? Well, we got some news early this week that he was preparing to put in his bid. And then today we got news that Dan's not going to sell to him or not going to let him bid, but Bezos is still preparing to make his bid. So who knows? A lot of different conflicting reports, but I think it's still on the table. I mean, you would be silly if you're Dan, and I know he's made a lot of stupid decisions in the past, but if someone's offering you, let's say 200, 300 million more than the next person, and they can have it up all, get that 30% I think they need in cash up front right away, like you're silly not to do that. You're just stupid. So I hope that Dan isn't stupid. I know he is, but I hope he doesn't act like that. And I hope he just sells the team, just sells it to Bezos, sell it to the guy that's offering the most money. JP6, who are your top 3 to be drafted on at pick 16? So I would go maybe Christian Gonzalez, Devin Witherspoon, and I don't know what besides that, I don't know. Maybe Peter Skornowski or someone like that. Yeah, definitely Christian Gonzalez and Devin Witherspoon. After that, not really sure. Let's see. I think Gus Bus asked about the corners. Does it make sense to draft a cornerback in the first 2 rounds if we have a new secondary coach? I feel like there'd be too many players learning something new from someone new. Well, Kime has been saying it for a while that he thinks that it'll be internal promotions. So they probably won't bring in anyone new from the secondary. It'll be internal promotions. So I think it'll be fine. I think it'll be fine. Brendan says, I'm actually happy with the change we made staffing wise. I mean, we made one change, and it's Eric Bieniemy, but the changes that he might make that we've been talking about, I agree. Those would be good if he can bring in Tavita Pritchard and Greg Lewis as well. Unpopular opinion, Leno and Cosme can still be a top 10 pairing offensive tackle. I mean, they could. I think Leno at top 10 is a little bit iffy. Maybe more like Leno probably top 15 is a ceiling. I think Cosme has that top 10 potential at right tackle, and maybe you can get to top 13, top 14. But we didn't really see much from Cosme this past year, so we will see. DeAndre says, I could be wrong. I know he wasn't in the front row with the rest of the guys, AGB, Rob Sadiq. Yeah, I know what you're saying, but I swear I saw something about him there because I know Shaka Tony went, John Bates went, and guys that weren't right there in the front row, and Sam Cosme went as well. But yeah, I definitely could be wrong. So let's see. Get rid of Heineke. Our star always gets hurt when he's on IR. He must have voodoo dolls. Hey, I'm fine with Heineke. I would just bring him back. Honestly, seems like he's a great guy. Teammates love him, and it seems like him and Sam Howell have a great connection. So I think I would bring him back. You are not paying Sam Howell that much money. You're paying him what, 500 mil? So you can afford to pay your backup a little bit more dough than a normal backup. And Heineke's worth it. He knows this, or I guess he doesn't know the system anymore, but he can catch on. He is, the teammates love him, and yeah, I think he would be fine. Let's see. Peter, you says can't bring back Heineke. There's going to be too much of a distraction on how if you keep. I don't think so. I don't think so because Heineke knows his place. Yes, he probably will think he's better than Hal, but if Rivera and Bieniemy are like Hal or Heineke, you're the backup. Heineke's gonna do what he can at the best of his ability. He's gonna be the backup that we need. And if Hal goes down, okay, Heineke's gonna come in, but he's not that guy that's gonna be cause drama in the QB room and be frustrated that he's not the guy. No, he's not. He's gonna help out help out Hal. And if some people are saying, well, if Heineke beats him out in training camp, then we're not gonna see Hal. Well, if Hal's the franchise guy, he better beat Sam Howell in training camp. Or he better beat Taylor Heineke in training camp because first off, Taylor Heineke is not a good practice player. So if you're not better than Taylor Heineke in practice, something's wrong. Peter you says disagree because even if Heineke knows his place, the fans don't. They love Heineke and will call for him at any chance. That is true, but I feel like it's been a while since we've kind of had like a consensus. Like almost everyone wants Sam Howell to start, and I think they will give him time. And I do understand what you're saying. Like if Heineke's the backup versus Teddy Bridgewater, more people are going to be calling for Heineke than Bridgewater. But still, I think that the players are already are familiar with Heineke and everything. It makes sense to bring him back, and I think Howell knows his place. He's very very mature, not a huge social media guy, and I think the fans are also behind Sam Howell big time. I really do. I mean, maybe someone in the chat is not, but I think a lot of people want to see what Sam Howell can do already. But the thing is, Peter, no one was. I mean, Fitzpatrick got hurt, so I mean, people were calling for Heineke, but let's not act like Fitzpatrick was a world beater. He's already he was 39, and then Wentz. I mean, half the fan base. I mean, a lot of the fan base didn't want us to trade for him. Like, not a ton of people. Like it wasn't like 75+% of the fan base was behind Carson Wentz week one. We wanted him to succeed, but let's not act like we thought he was going to completely ball out there. No. So that's just my take. I understand though. I do understand people's thought process on that, but for me, I'm fine. I'm fine keeping Heineke and letting Howell be the starter. Gus Bus says, and keep asking the questions, guys. I appreciate that. And appreciate that, Brian. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Helps the stream out. And subscribe if you guys are new. Gus Bus says, if you're Bieniemy, do you get a head coach job faster by developing Howell into a decent starter or by getting Lamar to a championship game? Either one. Honestly, like either one gets him or should get him a head coaching job. If Lamar is on this team and we get to if we get to the playoffs and get to the NFC Championship game and our offense is above average, he's getting a head coaching job or he better. And then if he develops Howell into a decent starter, that probably means our offense is good. He's going to get a head coaching job. he needs to. And if that happens and it's not in DC, yeah, it would be great to have him here. But we get 2 third-round picks, so I'm not, it's not the end of the world. I would not mind Tyrod Taylor at all, fellow Virginia Tech. Hokey wouldn't cost too much. He knows the drill with the rookie QBs. It'll be fine. Mark Johnson says, that's the problem with the Washington fans. You guys never want to pay anyone. Keep talking about our one playoff win. Let's see. Every other week was a different guy the fans were calling for. Yeah, but no, I just think that people are more behind Sam Howell than any quarterback we've had in a long time. Like, honestly, it's been a long time since the fan base has been behind a quarterback like they've been behind Sam Howell. So, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but that's just the vibe I'm getting. That's the vibe I'm getting from this. Brush the Forces, honestly, I feel like the best thing to do is get Richardson first round, let Sam start, and let him develop. I honestly don't okay, I'm fine with Richardson. Like, it's not like I'm a Richardson hater. I like the potential. Definitely think he should be a first round pick for sure, probably top half of the first round. But for me, I want the next regime, if there is a next regime, to pick the new quarterback. Okay? And someone like Anthony Richardson will. And real quick, before I finish, I just want to comment off this. Haskins, if you remember going into his second year, a lot of people were not behind Haskins. And I mean, a decent amount of people were behind him in his rookie year, but that's before they even saw him play at all. And that's before we even got into the season. Once we got into the season and we heard, and again, rest in peace, Haskins and everything. I have to say that every time, but before I talk about him, but once we heard about things during the season, we saw him play. I mean, not a lot of people were behind him. And once the season ended, he ended on a good note and people were behind him, but there was still so many people. I remember every day I would be having arguments with people on Twitter about Haskins. I was defending him, but just, that he was better than they thought. But a lot of people were like, he's a bust already. We should draft Tua, remember all that discussion. So I agree. But Sam Howell, he going into the second season, a lot of people are behind him, and yeah, if he has a bad first 4, 5, 6 games, then maybe some people will start to go to Heineke or say that we should go to Heineke. But that's gonna happen any fan base. Like that's gonna happen any fan base. Like if we sign Tyrod Taylor or Teddy Bridgewater and Howell's playing terrible the first 6 weeks, people are gonna call for them. Like people are gonna be like, okay, we need to bench Howell for a game or two. So it's gonna happen regardless. And then back to the Richardson point, I just don't want to draft a quarterback in the first round this year unless you're absolutely in love and you trade up. Because if you're absolutely in love and you just wait for the guy to fall to you, then I don't think you're really in love with them. But if you trade up and get a guy, that shows you really want them. And I just don't really want Anthony Richardson in the first, or Chris, or CJ Stroud, or I mean Bryce Young. If he was there, I would take him in a heartbeat. But it's not going to happen, and I just think it's best to wait another year, see what we have in Sam Howell, and reevaluate next year with a potential new regime. It could be the same regime, but could be a new regime as well. So there's a lot of things. This offseason is going to be crazy. I mean, we already got a new OC, the top OC, I believe. One of the guys that's been in the coaching, you know, headlines for the last 3 to 4 years, and we're going to get hopefully a new owner, but that's going to be a lot of drama the next couple weeks. Then after that, we're going to get into normal free agency and draft stuff, but the new owner and where the stadium's going to be, and yeah, just will he like Rivera and company? So many things to consider, and I'm excited for that. There's never a dull season in Commanders land. There really is not. There just isn't. When's the last time we've had a chill off season? Like I'm really trying to think about it. Like when? I mean, this past off season, we've had the ownership news, allegations against Snyder, of course. The year before, we had the name change. Yeah, did we? Was that? I'm trying to think. Rivera's first off season, we had the name change and everything like that. We just had a lot of stuff the last 3 to 4 years. So yeah, we've had so many things go on that maybe next off season will be a little bit calmer, but we're still gonna have a stadium, and then actually it could be crazy next off season because we could have a new head coach and new general manager. So I mean, a lot to watch out for, man. A lot to just consider. So let's see. We covered most things. So if you guys have any questions, go ahead and put in the chat. Hopefully, Juan is able to come in here in any minute now. But yeah, free agency and the draft. I'll go over. Since we did hire Eric Bieniemy, that brings up the question: will we bring in any guys from Kansas City? And I think we could. And I made a video about it. Again, went more in depth into that. But some guys I like. Jerick McKinnon, would be interested in him for cheap. Orlando Brown intrigues me, but I'd rather not pay him 20 plus mil. And then let's see, anyone else we talked about. McCole Hardman is a guy that does intrigue me as well. Is a good punt returner, can kick return as well for you, and has shown some dynamic, abilities at the receiver position. As a third, fourth option on the Chiefs, maybe second to third option on the Chiefs. So he's a guy that intrigues me. I can't remember who else that I talked about. What's his name? Wiley, Austin Wiley, guard slash tackle for the Chiefs, is another guy that intrigues me as well. Although all those guys would not mind signing. I'm trying to think. Juju, I don't want, just because we already have arguably 3 receivers better than him on the roster. So he's going to want to be a wide receiver 1 or 2. He's not going to do that here. He's just not. So why pay him that much? And then besides that, not really missing many players on their offense. Might be missing one. Gus Bus says get Gesicki, Wagner, and Ben Powers in free agency, and then says, let's see, and we're good to go. Hey, Gesicki would be solid, would be an upgrade at tight end. Bobby Wagner, I would absolutely love. If you get Bobby Wagner, forget about Cole Holcomb. Like I like Cole Holcomb, but you don't need to you don't need to resign him if you got Bobby Wagner. I mean, you can, but you don't need to. And yeah, Bobby Wagner did he did get he did get released, so he by the Rams, or I think, but yeah, they parted ways. He got released. I think he's probably gonna want to go to contender, and he'll probably sign cheap there. But I would, be able to pay a decent amount of money for I'd pay a decent amount of money for by Wagner. And Mark Johnson, it's not that I don't want to pay anyone. I don't want to pay Juju when it doesn't make sense for him to sign here. Why would I pay a receiver whatever 12, 13 million dollars a year when we already have three receivers better than him at their position? Doesn't make sense at all. And then Orlando Brown, I mean, if you want to pay him, sure. I didn't say I'm totally against it, but 20 plus million for I think a little slightly overrated tackle. This is not me, especially when we want to pay Deron Payne. So I don't know. Yeah, that's just my take. um, Rolando, appreciate the $5 donation. Says Evan Ingram would serve as the Travis Kelce of the team. He runs like a receiver. Hey, Evan Ingram is a free agent, and he's gonna cost a decent amount of money. But he's a great, he's similar to Mike. He's a better version of Mike Gesicki, but he's a hybrid between receiver and tight end, and he would be a dynamic weapon for this team. I wouldn't mind us going after him. He's definitely, obviously, he's not as good as Travis Kelce, but I know what you're saying there. He would be the, guy that's always open, getting yards after catch, and that's what Travis Kelce does. And yeah, would not mind Evan Ingram at all here. Just yeah, we'll see what other teams are offering, for him as well. Let's see, but appreciate that donation. And yeah, he's a hybrid between receiver and tight end. And if we signed him, Logan Thomas is gone. Logan Thomas has to be gone, in my opinion. Well, Mark, so you're saying that I don't want to pay Lamar, which is somewhat true, but you're also saying you see what the Eagles did because they pay players. Well, you know why they can pay players? Because they're not paying the quarterback $50 million a year. They're paying Jalen Hurts like $3 million a year. So when your quarterback's on a rookie deal, a non-first round rookie deal, you can afford to give your other players more money. So still don't really know what you're trying to get at there. Yeah, teams pay players, but when the player is not a fit for the team, I don't want him. I don't want Juju. Doesn't make sense. Does not make sense for me. Luke Skywalker's missing hand. Appreciate you for coming through. Yeah, it's been a while, but appreciate you coming through for sure. And yeah, I mean, guess what? I totally agree with what you're saying there. And let's see. Sire, ZY says he would change our D. Would you trade 2 seconds? Let's see. I'm trying to find out who you're talking about. You don't have to do another donation. Just put that in the chat. If you're talking about, Bobby Wagner. If you're talking about Bobby Wagner, we don't need to trade him. Just put in the chat who you're talking about, and I'll get back to that. I'm trying to think of who. Wait, is this I see the number 1 jersey. Oh my God, this guy, man! Every time he does it, every time he changes his avatar, changes his profile. Oh man, I swear I wasn't like. Oh man, luck. Well, he got me again. He got me again. Like it's just like I can't. The way he changes his profiles, like I gotta try to answer the question. I gotta try to answer the question, but next time there's a question, I'll try to discover. If it's vague like that, I will not be caught lacking again. Or we'll see. I'll try. I say that every time, but we'll try not to be caught lacking. I was like, who is he talking about? Who does he want to trade 2 seconds for? And then I see like the #1 jersey, and I'm like, is that Justin Fields? Maybe he's a Bears fan. And he's talking about, would I trade Deron Payne for 2 seconds? I don't know, but it's funny. Adds a little bit of entertainment to the stream. We'll see. We'll see if next time I'm able to not fall for it. So, Gus Buzz, this is a good question. Who's the guy you want most in free agency? I swear I had this guy in mind the other day. I had a guy in mind. Ugh. Well, I'll go over some guys I like. So, there's a couple cornerbacks I like. Would not mind Marcus Peters. He would be solid for cheap. You could pay him. Jonathan Jones, Patriots cornerback. One guy I do like at the tight end position as a sleeper, Foster Moreau. I want Foster Moreau. He's a little bit of a sleeper. He's a little bit of a sleeper, but I think that behind Darren Waller the last couple years, I think as a #1 tight end, I think he can be a very solid guy that can get you 500 to 750 yards. Not maybe an elite tight end, but top 10, top 15 tight end, and that's fine for me. I'm trying to think of who else. I mean, I guess Bobby Wagner is a guy I really, really would like for sure. McCole Hardman's another guy. I'm just naming guys I like. I'm gonna do a video on top 5 guys. The guy is slipping my. I forgot who it was. I had a specific guy in mind, but I forgot it. If it comes to mind, I will make sure to mention it. But good question, and yeah, there's a lot of decent. There's a lot of guys that I definitely wouldn't mind, or that I would like. Nate Davis is a good guy, a good one as well. Brandon, he's a solid guard, I believe, for the Tennessee Titans. Plays through a lot of injury. He's either guard or center. I think it's guard, but Powers is another option. I'm gonna go look through the list again. There's the Byron Murphy, cornerback from the Cardinals. He's an option. He's young, gonna cost a lot of money. Something to watch out for. But if you if you sign a big name corner, then you probably don't need to draft a first round guy. So I want to draft a guy in the first or second, preferably first, because this tackle class is a little bit deeper than the corner. So I would probably sign a guy that is a borderline starter, like not an elite guy, but solid guy. And then you can have him as at the very least, he will be a very, very good backup, but potentially could be a starter in the mix for the in the mix for the starting spot. Saswat, guy at my dorm says Sixer game gonna be hype, getting Panda Express. Appreciate that donation. Yeah, Sixers game will be hype. For sure. For sure. You could make some money on that game. Let's see. Peter you says, what are we doing? Wes Schweitzer would like to keep him for backup guard. Yeah, I would definitely try to bring him back. I mean, if you can get him for a reasonable contract, go ahead. If not, there's guys similar to him that you can get for as well. But I like Wes, a little injury prone, but he's very versatile, very solid option at that guard position. Don't really want to play him at center. I feel like his snaps were kind of off. Yeah, I think his snaps kind of off. Brendan says this free agency is kind of mid. Not gonna lie, I agree. Not many stars. I mean, like John Payne is great and all, but I think he's listed as like a top 3 free agent, and normally he wouldn't be. And Lamar Jackson's listed as #1, but he's not going to get to free agency. John Payne's probably not going to get to free agency. So not a lot of elite guys. But here's the thing, guys: you do not build through free agency. You should not build through free agency. So you fill holes in free agency, but you build through the draft. So let's fill some holes. Let's fill some holes where it's like a position where we can definitely get better. We can definitely get better. So guard, sign a free agent guard, sign another running back to this team, sign another linebacker, sign another corner. Doesn't have maybe one of those can be a cheap or it can be an expensive, contract. The other guys, get solid players, maybe guys coming off the rookie deals, and then build through the draft. That's how you win, guys. You get your team over the hump through free agency and trades, but you build through the draft. You build through the draft. So that's kind of been what I've noticed over the last few years. Like even the Eagles, yes, they went crazy this offseason. They, signed some guys. They also traded for some guys, but their team mostly built through the draft or undrafted free agents. Like you look at Jalen Hurts, draft. Miles Sanders, draft. Boston Scott, Kenneth Gainwell, draft. Jason Kelsey, draft. I believe Lane Johnson, draft. I think their whole offensive line, Landon Dickerson, draft. Jordan Mailata, I think they signed him as an undrafted guy or from the Pathway program. And then on defense, Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, a lot of the guys. They are built through the draft. I mean, Devontae Smith as well. Stefan, I'm not sure where Juan is. We'll see. Said he would be on, but not so sure anymore. But it's all good. Let's see. Someone asked about linebacker Trent Simpson. Don't know too much about him, but I would definitely be, open to drafting a linebacker, in the second to fourth round. I think it would be a solid option. So we're going to stream for another 15-ish minutes. If you guys are new, please subscribe. Got over 100 people in the chat. I know someone who's watching right now is not subscribed. It takes a second, guys. It takes 1 second. Do it. It's free. Won't bother you. Won't cost you anything. And you will not regret it. So go ahead and do it for great Commanders content. Post every single day. So you guys will not regret it. So let's see. Any more questions? Go ahead and put them in the chat. Someone talked about 2 offensive linemen. I think 2 offensive linemen is good. I think you draft one guy as a starter. So first or second round guy that you expect him to be your starter and starter in rookie year, honestly. Second rounder is like a little like, okay, maybe it's not right away, but in sometime in his rookie year he should be starting. If he's a first round guy, he should be starting, of course. And then I would draft another guy could be in the second round. I mean, not actually in the second. I would draft someone in the third or fourth round as a depth guy that potentially could be a starter down the line, or maybe if he balls out, if he's that guy, he will start for you in his rookie year. Gus Bus says, you think Payne tag and trade is still realistic? I'm not sure Bears want to give up compensation. I do think it is realistic. There's other teams, not just the Bears, but the Atlanta Falcons and some other teams as well. I think that it would be able to happen, and we could get like a second and third, something like that. Chances Mayo Davis or David Mayo and Bostic, or I guess Mayo Davis and Bostic are week 1 starters. Knowing Rivera, it could happen, but it better not happen. If that happens, we're in trouble. We are very, very, very much in trouble. I hope it's Jamin Davis, and then after that, give me Bobby Wagner, Cole Holcomb, AJ Klein as a depth piece, a draft guy, Tremaine Edmonds. I think I said him, Bobby Wagner, guys like that would not mind. And I forgot there's another good linebacker in free agency as well. That's solid. If Darnell Wright or DeJuan Jones is there in the second, yeah, I mean Darnell Wright, I think it's going to be a first round guy, late first round guy. But if he's there in the second, I would definitely draft him there for sure. What's up, Drayon Scott? Appreciate you coming through. Says Sam Howell's season. Yeah, I think it's going to be Sam Howell's season. Unless we make a trade, I think Sam Howell will be that guy for us this year. And I'm all for it. I'm going to support him all the way through. And, I'm excited to see what he can do. It's been a while since I've been kind of excited for QB, probably since Haskins, RIP. But besides that, yeah, it's been a while since I've been excited. JP, because like last year, I was like, with Carson Wentz, I was like kind of nervous. I was like nervous, a little excited. With Howell, not that nervous because I know it can't get much worse. I know it can't get that much worse, which is sad. Yeah, Tremaine Edmonds is 24 years old, and he's not amazing in coverage, but this past year was his best year in coverage, so he would be a solid option. It's going to cost a lot of money. If you pay him, definitely not going to be able to pay all 40 linemen, maybe not even be able to pay Payne. if you sign him, at most you're going to be able to pay is 3 of the 4 D linemen, maybe only 2. And Jonathan Allen is already paid, so it'd be Duran, Chase, or Montez. And if you're only paying 2 of them, you got to pay 1 edge and 1 D tackle. You can't let both those other guys go. Spider Monkey 304 says, I think we'll not be able to plug all holes. Defensively, more important, linebacker or DB help. Well, DB help overall is more important, but with this team, linebacker currently right now, atrocious. It's Jamin Davis and David Mayo, who got a contract extension. John Bostic I don't think he's still on the roster, but John Bostic, and then Khalid Hudson. Like, I'm sorry, those guys are trash. Those guys are trash. And so you got to minimum bring back Cole Holcomb and bring in someone else at the minimum. So linebacker is a very, very big need in my opinion. Cornerback is a need. It's still in the top 5 for me. You need to bring in someone at the very minimum, a borderline starter at the minimum. But I think linebacker, as it currently stands, is a bigger need. I really do think it is a bigger need. Quan Alexander would be a good option too. He is a little injury prone, but he is solid. He's solid. He played. I don't know why my camera's a little blurry right now. He did play pretty well for the Jets, I believe. The Jets, I believe, this past year. So he's a guy I would be able to. You wouldn't have to pay a ton for that. I would be fine, signing. So I think that is it for today's stream. I think we're gonna wrap it up. Appreciate everyone for coming through. Again, got over 100 people in here. Subscribe, guys, and hit that like button. And yeah, I'm gonna have a video out tomorrow. We'll see what it is about. We'll keep you guys updated on. All the coaching stuff and stuff like that. Yeah, Peter, I wanted Matt Milano. Would have been nice. Even AJ Klein last season would have been nice, but it is what it is. Yep, appreciate all you guys for coming through. Peace. Luke Skywalker's missing hand. Brendan, Bod, Peter U, Spider Monkey, Gus, Mark, all you guys. Appreciate it and peace.